Hello everybody and welcome to the signal box for another exciting video today, or in my case this evening. It's Friday evening in the UK and it's quite late-ish in the evening, but I thought I would do this. I've actually been up quite late this evening wrapping up my daughter's birthday presents because it's her birthday on Sunday, bless her. So I thought I'd do this before I go to bed. Crazy person that I am. Anyway, hope that you enjoy this video. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and we'll crack on with the video. So I don't normally take gambles. I don't normally take risks. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, and they don't always pay off, but sometimes intuition kicks in and I think, you know what, let's take a gamble on something and see what happens. So that's exactly what I did the other day, and lo and behold, yesterday tea time, the postman brought a mystery box. And what is in the mystery box? All the way from Blackburn, Lancashire. Oh boy. Nothing to do with the Beatles song Day in the Life, but yeah, it really is from Blackburn, Lancashire. Don't believe me. Blackburn Lancs. Anyway, it's the first time I've had anything from Blackburn Lancs. I'm very excited. But not just about anything, but what's inside here is quite amazing. So go and grab yourself a beverage of your choice, or pause the video for convenience, and I'll see you in the next bit to show you what's inside. Okay, so what was in said box from Blackburn, Lancashire? Well, I'll show you. Bring it into the shot. Something rather unique, and you're going to say, I can't believe it. You took the gamble and you got one. Well, here it is. It's a nice little 14 XX. And this one is not an Airfix one, by the way. This is a Dapol one, or Dapol. This is actually quite a nice model. I'll explain to you why it's better than the Airfix one, and actually better than the one I've currently got. So first of all, if I bring the camera down to ground level, and we'll have a little look. Without blurring out the camera. That's better. So as you can see, she's a 14 XX Great Western auto tank engine, and she's in British Railways black, which makes it really rare and unique. I've seen another one of these on eBay, which is where it comes from, but it's in N gauge, which means it's much smaller. But this is quite a rare 00 one. They did loads of Great Western ones with the shirt button, Great Western emblem, and lots of different colours. But this one is in British Railways Lake Crest BR black, and it's quite a eye-catching colour, as you can see. And this one's actually got glazing on the windows of the cab there. If you can pick that up, I'll try and, there you go. So although it is an air-fixed, or an air-fix, should I say, tooled model, it's been air-fixed, definitely. It is an air-fix tooled model. It's basically the same, exactly the same as what Airfix released about 1978 onwards. But the unique thing about this is that Dapol, or Dapol, how you pronounce it, re-released it with a little bit more better improvement, certainly on the pickups and on the motor side of things. But anyway, if you look at this particular sample I've got here, I think someone's added real coal on the back of the bunker there, which looks pretty good. It's definitely a lot more higher than the moulded stuff Dapol would have put on the back there. So I'm led to believing that whoever owned this put some real coal chippings, or some very realistic looking coal chippings on the back of the bunker there, just above the grille mesh windows, which looks quite nice. Everything's pretty tidy on this model, as you can see. The only thing that's missing from this model, which is not a massive problem, is the hook that goes in the rear and the front coupling. They've got the couplings on there, as you can see, but the hook is missing from both those, and you know, it's not a problem. I can source those. But the main thing is that it will couple up to things. It's got the vacuum pipe on the rear bunker, or on the rear buffer beam, and on the front smoke box end buffer wise, it's got the vacuum pipe there. Overall, it's quite a tidy model. The paint finish is in quite good condition. I love the contrast with the safety valve dome being painted brass and everything in this matte colour. It really is quite a nice model. It's very tempting to actually do a bit of light weathering on this, which I may do, I may not, but I like it as it is. I think it's quite a nice model. You don't really have to do anything to it, and as you can see, the paintwork's pretty decent. There's no scuffs or marks on there, and everything's on there. The handrail that goes on top of the cab there is there. Separately fitted handrails to the cab door either side. All the pipe work is intact. Normally when you get these, the sand pipes on the front or underneath the centre driving wheel are normally snapped off. They're all incomplete. They're all complete and intact, which is great. But yeah, she's quite a nice model. 1420 is the running number. Now this could be a stand-in for the little tip field set, but I'm not going to do that. I'll tell you why. Because I think I'm confident enough to another day take it back out the box and just have another go. Let's see if I can sort it out and repair it and put a few things right on it. We'll have a go. We'll see what we can do. But either way, now we've got a replacement. Now you might say, how does it run? I bet it runs awful, exactly like the Airfix models and exactly like the Hornby version. Well, as mentioned, this is a Dapol model, and there's a very unique thing going on underneath the loco, which I'm going to show you now. If I just flip this over, now these wheels, they weren't as shiny as you see before you there. I actually cleaned those up with a little bit of light sandpaper, a cotton bud with some lighter fluid, and then buff them over with a track rubber, and then again just polish them up to that high standard, or as best as all 6 wheels, including the traction tyre wheel in the middle. Everything is nice and clean. The pickups in this model were very good, and what I did, I assembled a couple of pieces of track on the dining table, a couple of bits of straight and 3 pieces of curve track, sort of just enough for it to run round a curve and a bit of straight to see how it performed. And basically with a little bit of nudging, it did run very well. That's before I cleaned it. And once I cleaned it and gave it a little bit of the West Anglia treatment, as my old, no longer sadly here, my mentor when I first started on the railway, when I first started on West Anglia route of the railway on BR, my old mentor said, you always used to say when you used to fix something, give it the West Anglia treatment. So I gave it the West Anglia treatment, and it really is a very sweet runner, and I have every ounce of confidence that when I put this on the railway tomorrow, in tomorrow's video, she'll run very, very well. I'm very impressed with this actually, the running quality. It's very, very slow. You can get a crawl out of it, and it's faultless. It did need a good oil and a good lubrication wise, everything on it. I put some grease on the worm gear, that was dry as a bone. The com rods and pins and axles, everything was pretty dry on it. Although it did move, it just needed a lot of TLC, which didn't take an awful lot of effort. So I'm very pleased about that. And you might be asking to yourselves, what's that odd thing on the leading axle right in the middle, that block that's been glued on there? Well, I'll tell you what that is, and I was quite surprised, because when I saw it on the advertisement on eBay, I looked at that and I thought, what is that? And the seller had described accurately that it was a magnet, in fact. And when I actually got it in the post yesterday and I had a look, basically it is a magnet as it says, but it does something rather strange. It just really improves the performance of this on the track. There is a little bit unfortunately, of the rock and roll thing going on, as you'll see. I do it now. Oh, there we go. From the bunker, the cab end. And the reason all these 14Xs do that, I'll explain to you quickly, because I've already discussed it in the previous video, and lots of people out on the YouTube community have discussed the same issue. What it is, guys, underneath here, there's a spring here underneath this single wheel that goes underneath the back end, and there's a spring also on this axle. And what this does is compensate for the traction tyres, I believe, because these traction tyres do have to sadly be on there. You can't get away with running one of these without traction tyres, no matter what people say. I've tried it. I've had to sort of eat my words and leave it on because it helps with haulage, because it won't pull anything without traction tyres. In reality, these things only hauled the maximum of 2 auto coaches or a couple of short rake of wagons. They didn't haul massive long trains. So that's really why that's on there. But other than that, it's quite a tidy model. I'm very happy with that, and I'm even more happy that the thing actually runs quite sweetly. It's unbelievable. It actually runs very sweetly now, and like I said, when I get it on my railway tomorrow, there shouldn't be any issues, because as mentioned, I've set up a couple of pieces of test track. About let's see, it's about 6 pieces. Basically half of an oval I put on my dining room table last night. That's a couple of bits of straight, half of a curve radius. So that's 1, 2, 3, about 4. But I actually used 3 pieces of curved track to make up almost half a radius. So it gives you an idea. There was quite a few bits of track assembled, enough for it to traverse around the curve and onto the straight, and it behaved itself really well, and even better once I'd cleaned it and give it a bit of TLC and the West Anglia treatment. So anyway, that's my little 14XX from Dapol. Sadly, it's got no original box, but I am sure and confident that I could source one of those on eBay. But just really quickly before I go, you can see down on the running plate below the steps, pipe work, again the sanders, everything on there. And then underneath there's, as you can see, everything's complete. And if you turn it around that way, you can see in the light there, Dapol. And even though it says made in China, these were actually sourced and sent out in, I can't pronounce the name of the Welsh town, because my pronunciation for Welsh words is awful. So I'm not going to make a fool of myself on YouTube. But there used to be a company, or I think still is, in Wales, that make these, but now they're more into making very expensive O-gauge size models. But anyway, that's another thing. But this little model is quite charming, and it's quite a rare one, as mentioned, in BR Black. I've seen people paint these up, some of them to a very, very high standard, but for this to be actually produced in this colour with that running number, that's quite nice. I mean, if this works, well, I shouldn't see why not, but it already works very well. So I'm thinking, literally, no pun intended, but down the line, I'm going to add a loco footplate crew hanging out the window on both the offside, the fireman side, and the driver's side. And all Great Western engines are always right-hand drive, so this will be the fireman side, and then that will be the driver's side on that one. Also, there's a couple of manufacturers out there that produce, what is it now, the lamp iron, not the lamp iron, but the lamp iron brackets in the back there. Yeah, there's some cast brackets that you can fit to replace the ones that you cannot see at all on this sample here, because they're moulded in with the bodywork. If I bring it up to the light, you can just about make those out. There you go, those 3 raised marks there, just above the vacuum pipe on the back of the loco. Just about, but if you actually glue the replacements over the top, and paint those in, they do look much better. That's for hanging the long handled dart and the pricker and all the fire iron tools that are needed for this little loco in real life. You can hang those in the back there, and that'll look better. A footplate crew would work on there as well. It's a nice touch that the model has glazed windows. I'm not sure if this was ever released with glazed windows. I'll have to find that out, but whoever's glazed those front drivers and fireman side window has done quite a nice little neat job. That's quite nice, even though there's not much to see, but the fact we can see daylight through those windows makes a huge difference, I think, to the model. I think so anyway. It's still got that cheapy motor in that we saw from the recent video I did of the Hornby 14XX from the crappy Titfield Thunderbolt 60th set. Although this motor speaking on this version, actually I'm not going to slate it because it really does actually work very well. In fact, it's actually a very, very good motor in there, and it does a nice little job, so you can't really complain about that. Ultimately, it's better than the Airfix one because the Airfix motor took up the whole cab, and it just looked horrible and rather noisy and lots of things. But Dapol had basically improved the 14XX from Airfix, and then obviously what happened was Hornby purchased all the tooling off of Dapol and then rebranded it under their own name. But as mentioned, they did nothing with it, which is quite sad. There's so much they could have done with it, but as mentioned in my previous video, they did not. Anyway, that's kind of that. So as mentioned, all I really need to do is add a coupling hook on that coupling bar there if I wanted to. I might even remove it, to be honest with you, because unless I keep it on there, I don't know. I might do, I might not, but they're not as bad as the original big chunky Airfix couplings that stood out 30 foot from the buffer beam as mentioned. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've got the original Airfix version. And sadly, Hornby just overlooked that schoolboy error and many things, so it was inexcusable in my opinion. But before I go, I will say it's a nice looking model once again, and there's loads of scope on here to add detail. Like you can put headlamps on the front there, lots of things you can do. One of the things that most people do with this particular loco, if you look at my sample here, if you notice the smokebox dart, which is the big hinge not the hinges, because the hinges are on the side there, there's a lock-in mechanism. There's two big giant handles in the middle of the smokebox door there, right smack bang in the middle. They look like hands on a clock, but they're actually called officially the smokebox dart, and they are just two large winding handles that you can they're like a screw mechanism that you can basically, you turn one way and it unlocks the smokebox door, so you can open it on the hinge to clean out the smokebox and clinker and ash at the end of the day when the engine goes to bed. Now, on my sample, they're moulded and they don't look particularly attractive, but you can replace those. Again, you can get a super detail kit and you can actually remove the smokebox door, I believe. If not, you can certainly carefully cut those away and put a separate fitted smokebox dart on there. I've seen people do that here on the YouTube community, and I raise my hat to them. It does look very nice. But anyway, for my purpose and my little loco here, no one's going to blink and will notice when it runs around my layout. And on my camera shots, even though my camera does take close-up shots and stuff, to me, it's not a problem that I'm going to be losing sleep about overnight. So that's my little 14XX before I go to bed. But I thought that's really nice though. I'm very pleased with that. Overall, a very good bargain. Lovely. So I think this would look really nice with a pair of maroon, British Railways maroon auto coaches, and you'll need two at least because they used to work sandwiched in between two auto coaches. Very clever setup. because the driver's brake valve pipe, vacuum pipe, and the regulator which closes the steam into the cylinders to make the engine go slower or faster or stop. Basically, in layman's terms, they are all connected up by some special pipe work to an auto coach, which basically could be driven from the driver's cabin, the auto coach, without there being a driver present on the footplate. All clever stuff, and it was also very fail-safe as well. But it also works in the middle, sandwiched between two of them. It looks quite unique in working practice anyway. I'll stop waffling about auto coach working and stuff like that because it is rather late. Anyway, that's one thing. But here's something I found out. Again, I have to word this very carefully what I'm about to say. But I did find out something quite, well, let's just say it's quite sad. That when it came down to the Hornby Titfield Thunderbolt 60th anniversary set that Hornby previously marketed and released, apparently Studio Canal, they were the film company that had the rights to the original Titfield Thunderbolt film, and apparently Hornby did not contact them in terms of licensing about going ahead and we're going to do this set based on the Titfield Thunderbolt film, and we're going to release a loco that will be 1401 like the real 14XX in the film, Dan's mobile home on the Lomac wagon, and the towed brake van at the rear. And they just went ahead and just did it, and I think quietly they got into a little bit of trouble over it, and rightly so, because Rapido Trains about a year or two ago, I think it was, might even be 3, they released the Titfield Thunderbolt locomotive that was out of the museum, which really was Lion, and some coaches to go with it. Although they released, they did the actual Titfield coaches to go with it, and the brake van. It was done properly, I think. But anyway, it's a whole lot of politics and marketing that went on. And when I actually looked it up on Google the other day, and YouTube, more so Google, I was quite shocked to learn what I thought all along had happened, that it wasn't an official licensed model. It had just been put out at the time, and a rather hastily put out set. Like I said, the only decent thing in that set is the brake van and the DVD and the film poster. That's it. The rest of it's rubbish. I'm quite shocked and appalled that Hornby would just not allow any quality control to happen at the time. And even so today, there's still things out there they're releasing without properly thinking about it and checking if it's okay. Anyway, because us modelers, we pay a lot of money for our stuff, don't we? Whether it's second hand or brand new, whether it's from your local model shop or online, or you go to a swap meet, or you go to eBay. Either way, whether something costs £15 or £115, it's money sometimes, we save up, and it's a lot of money to part with, and you want value for money. So in today's video, I will say, without a doubt, this is definitely value for money. Okay, with that, I will see you in the video soon. The next one, we'll have this out on the layout running, and I will say bye-bye to you all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next episode of The Signal Box. Good night.